What's going on, everybody? John Eric Poli here with My MMA News, and today's guest is one of the newest fighters on the UFC roster, just picking up a UFC contract on Dana White's Contender series, joined today by Danny Barlow. Danny, nice to see you, man. Thanks for being here, and congratulations on the contract.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man.
So let's start right here. Has it all sunk in? Just what are the emotions like right now after putting on a great performance in the featured bout of the evening and getting that UFC contract?
Man, the emotions are still the same. I feel like once you get to one of this point in life right now, it's just one of those type of things to where you enjoy it, but the job still proceeds. Like the world don't end, the world don't stop for UFC contract. So it's more so like you gotta keep working. You gotta but it's more so and it's more so in a different mindset when you working because you have got to a certain point, so you can enjoy it. You can put yourself in the mindset of this is why I'm doing it now. So it give you a different why. But other than that, man, it feel the same as far as like the work ethic. But it's a dream come true though for sure. So it's still processing as far as like like UFC fighter, like what I'm saying. I think it won't really set in until I'm expecting everything to feel how I feel now. Like as far as like I don't think it'll set all the way into my debut. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
So obviously, right, this is a huge moment, like you were saying, still kind of feeling the emotions out of it, really will sink in for the debut and everything. But the reason how you got here, right, so we kind of have right now the ending point here. I know obviously a lot still to go on in your career, but this moment here, let's start at the beginning now here. The way how you got into the fight game I found very interesting. This is according to the UFC broadcast on the Dana White Contender series that night. They said it was the movie Creed, which led to you becoming a fighter. Explain that. How did that movie get you to this point? Obviously, you were an accomplished athlete before coming to the fight game. What was it about that movie that made you say, I want to be a fighter?
Man, I think that's why the movies exist, like to motivate you. What I'm saying, like a lot of people grew up in the Rocky era and stuff like that. A lot of people and use Rocky. He's not even a real fighter. You know what I'm saying? It's like Rocky was a movie, but he inspired more fighters than regular fighters. You know what I'm saying? Like to actually fight. Like you'll turn on Eye of the Tiger and give you that like you finna go and punch people in the face for real, and you'll feel that real energy. So I feel like it was a movie that was in my era that created a real feeling, and it made fighting look shiny. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if I would knew, MMA did not look attractive back then. Like the knees, the elbows, the submissions did not look attractive. But being sweaty with muscles in in a ring on TV when up under the lights, walking out they made it look good, and I was like, man, I want to do that. I want that feeling, and I felt like I have always been a top athlete. It's just always been something. Like basketball was good, but I was just 3 inches shorter. You know what I'm saying? It was just like if I was 3 inches, it's just the way it was just always something. Football, I could not get over 200 pounds, you know what I'm saying, in college to play football. So it was always something. But when I started fighting, man, it inspired me based off the way they made it look to be that dude. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I can do that. Like, I really feel I can do that. And I was willing to put the hard work in. You know what I'm saying? I already knew my work ethic back then for basketball, football, track. I was the hardest working guy. I knew I was good enough to be in the NBA. I knew I was good enough to be on the NFL field. But and I knew I was good enough to run track. But it was just like, it was just torn in between, just like decisions. But I got tired of like, what I'm saying, feeling like I was beating a dead horse. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that movie was just turned, man. It was just like you seen it, bro. It was just everything about it. The soundtrack was hidden, like everything. It made fighting look good, and I feel like I could do it.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, you definitely found yourself a home here with the sport because you look incredible. I can tell you're going to have a bright future here in the UFC. Obviously, now at this point in the interview, we kind of got the beginning point, this kind of ending point here as of right now. Let's fill everything in here. I do want to ask a little bit about your career and then obviously get into this great performance that got you this UFC contract. Let's start with the CFFC promotion. Fantastic promotion. If there's anybody out there that might be watching this that isn't familiar with it, it's pretty much a feeder system into the UFC. Produced a lot of high-level UFC talent over the years. You got to have several fights within that promotion. How did that promotion help you with this experience here to get into the UFC?
Man, to be honest, I'm gonna be like I only had 2 fights for CFFC. I had my and one of my most challenging fights was when I came onto CFFC, and it was my first time really having adversity in a fight. I got taken down, and I got my back taken. You know what I'm saying? I experienced, I had a lot of like test of heart in one of those fights, but I got up, it ended up being unanimous decision. It was one of the two times out of my career that I went to the all three rounds. But I can honestly say, man, like it was a good, it was a great experience. It was a great experience fighting for those guys. You know what I'm saying? It was a great experience fighting for those guys. But I feel like I didn't get my respect until Tuesday. I feel like I was always fighting right before Rambo. I was always fighting it's like they didn't want to give me a title shot because everybody that was getting those shots didn't want to fight me. You see what I'm saying? So it was just like, yeah, it was so, but yeah, it was a good experience though. I just feel like I never got a chance to maximize myself on those promotions because, like I said, I deserved the title shot, but they never gave it. So I kind of overgrew. I kind of really jumped a step. I kind of like, yeah, I kind of jumped a step a little bit.
Yeah, you obviously proved yourself on the Contender Series. Let's talk about the Contender Series now a little bit. Obviously, you said you knew you had more to prove from the CFFC days there. How did you find out that you were going to be on the Contender Series? I know that obviously the UFC matchmakers are always keeping their eyes on promotions like CFFC. Who was it that reached out to you and said, hey, Dana White wants to see you fight up and close and have a shot at the UFC here?
I mean, we got I don't remember exactly who it was. I think Iridium, my management team, hit me up. You know what I'm saying? And they basically, I couldn't wait for the fight. My last fight, for the fight that got me, made it official. Couldn't wait for it, and they basically tried to pull me from the fight. And I was like 176, laying in the cage, like couldn't wait. And they called me while I was like 176, like 6 pounds off of my weigh-ins, and they called me and was like they wanted to pull me for the fight for the Contender Series. And I ended up like, they were saying, what you want to do? Like, we don't want you to take the fight. Then they end up turning around saying that you need the fight to get into the Contender Series after I gained 10 pounds of water weight back. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, so that's how I got the call, man. I got the call when I was, you know what I'm saying, like right before my last fight. I was like basically the day before weigh-ins of my last fight. I got the call, man, and they let me know. So I was like a bittersweet moment. It's like I was too tired to even be excited, and I was just so confused on like why now, like why y'all, you know what I'm saying? It was just crazy. So yeah, it was right before my last fight, like back in July.
And now let's get to fight week here for the Contender Series. Obviously, a lot of times there in the UFC Performance Institute. What was that like, taking that all in? How did you enjoy kind of the way that the UFC kind of does their fight week process for this?
I feel like it really shows you where you at mentally. You know what I'm saying? It really shows like it's a lot of people need that height there. It's none of that. It's like straight to business. Like, man, look, we gonna wrap your hands. Like, I don't care. You like they came as soon as we got in, they wrapping our hands. It's just like everybody walk around like everybody used to a certain process. It's not a whole lot of emotions in there. You know what I'm saying? It's not a whole lot of, you know what I'm saying, guys that's trying to pump you up. They like, man, look, go out there, do your thing. So that's how I like to fight, you know what I'm saying? But I know that can be hard for other fighters. But I like the way it challenged me mentally, not having walkout music. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, not being able to, sell tickets. And it's just like, yeah, every fight in front of, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, Dana White. And it was just an experience that was like, man, I feel like I was made for it. But yeah, it was crazy, man. It was a great experience. But the facilities, now I'm more excited because I got the contract and I know that's available to me now. You know what I'm saying? But just being in Vegas for the first time. So everything was a first for me. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot that hit me at one time, but it was an amazing experience being at the UFC Apex and being, just seeing like the way they transport and the way they, treat their non-UFC fighters. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool to kind of like, I hear a lot of people complain about the pay and all that, but I feel like there's things that you have to work for. So that's something that I'm not really concerned about right now. I'm just concerned about putting in their work. Yeah, but yeah, I was very impressed and enjoyed the whole process.
All right, let's get to this matchup now here. You and your opponent know each other very, very, very well. Both guys from Memphis, spent a lot of time, training with, not necessarily in the same gym, but I know there were times that you guys have maybe cross-trained, shared a room together. Just what was that like, having to fight somebody that you know so well like that?
I mean, like I said, man, it was easy for me to do because that's how we train in my team. Like basically, me and my training partner Paul, we don't try to kill each other, but it's like we very technical and strategic, and it's not a lot of emotion. You know what I'm saying? It's like just great. It's business every time. Like, I do good business with my team, with my coach. Like he just we really mentally, like suited for those type of things. And my coach been telling people for years, join us to fight us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I already knew one day it was gonna be one of them type of times where they did pump fake that matchup a couple times, and I never said no. You know what I'm saying? So it just never went through. But my coach started saying, "Look, man, y'all gonna fight, man. They're gonna make y'all." So I been kind of preparing my mind that. But at the same time, man, when you telling guys, you competing teams, and you like, bro, this the best gym, this the best. That's what we were fighting for. Like, you the king. So I feel like it made sense. The matchup made sense, so I couldn't argue with it because if I was a fan, I would leave. Even if I didn't like the fact that Memphis was on Memphis, but I like, man, I would want to see that fight myself. So it made sense to me, and so I enjoyed it just from the matchup perspective, but it was one of them type of things that I believe brothers. We fight at the house, but we don't fight at school. That's always the rule, man. Like, I don't care how much our family, as family, we fight at the house, man. So I feel like Memphis can fight Memphis when we in Memphis, but outside of Memphis, it's just one of them type of thing I had to morally kind of adjust to.
All right, so now to this big performance here. What got you this UFC contract? Not a lot of action really to break down with you here. You got the fight done in under 2 minutes there. Just kind of take us through it. Obviously, it seems like both of you guys came out, were aggressive. You guys wanted to get that finish. Ultimately, you were the one that prevailed with that left hand from God.
Man, yeah, but I feel like, man, that pace, I can keep that pace 5, 6, 7 rounds. Like, that's just how I go. So it wasn't really that I was trying. It's just like that's just how my first. That's why I feel like my pace in the first round is not really just pressure, but it's just I'm doing so many things. Like, you know what I'm saying, I'm finding weapons, offense, defense. I mean, I'm trying to see what weapons he using, what weapons I want to use. Like, if I got like if you going to hunt and you hunting deer and it's bow season, you know what I'm saying? It's a certain way that you have to hunt. So it's like you have to find the correct weapons that you want to use in the fight. That's all that I was doing. That's all I do in the first round. So if you don't make it through the first round, you probably not going like it's gonna be a hard fight. You know what I'm saying? It's like because I'm doing so much, and if like the first, I have not had a lucky finish in the first round. Like a knockout is lucky because it's something that you didn't see. But when it's harder to break a guy's will when he have all his strength, he have all his momentum, he have all his explosiveness. So that's a hard thing to actually do within a minute. So it's like a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't understand that a TKO is not a knockout. A TKO is basically you coming in, you applying a certain type of pressure. And, you know what I'm saying? And that's why when I rocked them, I wasn't rushing for the finish. It's like, this is what I can do the whole night. This is what I can do the whole day. And even with Dana White saying, like, yeah, it was kind of wild. He understand, like, I wasn't loading punches. I wasn't telegraphing punches. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't telegraphing kicks. Very technical. But when it's time to get you out of there, it's like, I'm trying to get you out of there. You see what I'm saying? And that's just the way I fight, man. I love to do that. But like it was that's what it was really like. Yeah, that's all that really I was going through in my head. Like I wasn't expecting it to be that, but if you don't have an answer for it, you don't have an answer for it. You see what I'm saying? And I just feel like he didn't have an answer for it. Like a couple guys don't have an answer for it.
So now I have to say, the celebration, I absolutely love it. Whenever you do that backflip, it's really cool to see. I know Dana White's not a big fan of fighters doing the backflips. Is the backflip going to stay in the UFC?
Oh yeah, he said he's not a fan.
He's in the
What'd you say?
past, yeah, in the past he said things like that. Where I remember Justin Gaethje, he used to do the backflip off the cage. It used to drive him crazy.
Bro, like it gotta stay, man. It's like, man, I'm the type of person that I don't expect. Like basically, you got guys in the UFC that Dana White don't like. You know what I'm saying? Just don't like. It's about the fans, man. It's about, that'll make it even more cooler if Dana White don't like it. You know what I'm saying? That mean that he'll match me up with somebody that's gonna stop it. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not the guy that's too big on even if it was something negative, I just don't look at things in that way to where it's like, yeah, I mean, he don't like it, it got to stay though. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why I'm me. You know what I'm saying? So if I change that, then it's something that they'll say, I don't like your name. I don't like left hand of God. Then I change. So I just wouldn't change nothing. You see what I'm saying? But I feel like that'll just be more of a challenge, you know what I'm saying? Like to where if you don't like the backflip, get somebody to get this kid out, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like later on in my career, after I knock out a couple guys, they'll kind of be anxious for him to push me, you know what I'm saying, to that challenge, you know what I'm saying? That I'd be like, okay, we know we can get this guy to get him out of here, you know what I'm saying, to calm this guy down. And that's when I continue to show. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah. So I ain't going nowhere. You finna have me doing a couple of them now just because you said that though. I gotta do two of them.
Hey, I'm all for the backflips. I'm all about it there. That's for sure. But speaking of Dana White, did you guys get to have a conversation afterwards? I know typically on the Contender series, usually as soon as like the show's wrapping up, Dana usually comes over, like shakes her hand, says a few things. Did you get to have any words with them or no?
Like, other than like us getting a contract and like him shaking my head, like he was like, yeah, he was just letting me know pretty much what he said. Like he like I'm explosive. Like he just kind of pretty much said exactly what he said, but just more personally to me. He shook my hand and just like gave me a good compliment. And like I said, to me that's that's business. You know what I'm saying? Like meaning, so he just pretty much had a good like like I like that. You know what I'm saying? That's all that's the only conversation we really need to have. I'm not like I got work to do, so I can't really be too much of a fan, of anybody. But like, yeah, it was a good, good conversation, just quick conversation about what he liked. So, yeah, man. So, yeah.
All right, man. Just one last thing before we wrap things up here today. What's the plans for the debut? Do you want to get in by the end of the year, or are you looking at early next year?
Man, I feel like I can get 3 fights in this year, man, to be honest. I pretty much don't really want to change anything up of what I've been doing. I've been fighting for 4 years. So it's like, I have never been inactive. I have never been as healthy as I am now. I always had stingers and messed up arms, broke elbow, like, hyperextended arms. And I have had injuries, but I feel like now I train a little bit different. I eat a little different. As far as like, I got better at being more healthy, so it's really no excuse for me to sit down. You see what I'm saying? It's really no excuse. But I've been telling people, I'm always standing in a position to where I want to be able to cut weight in 10 days. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to cut weight in 10 days. So that's the answer. I'm ready. To where if he called me, if he called me for short notice, I'm ready. When you get in the UFC, you get on that contract, and like, you know what I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying, yeah, I'm not playing peekaboo, man. I'm here. Like I'm here, man. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm here, man, ready for whatever.
Danny, bright future in front of you, man. Can't wait to see you in the UFC. Congratulations again. Just last thing before you get out for the day. Social media, management, sponsorships, all that good stuff. Whatever you got to plug, floor is yours. You get the last word here today.
Yes, sir. Law School MMA, man. Whole Memphis, Tennessee. My sponsorships, KO Combs, J2G Promotions, God Body Fitness and Nutrition, New Money Daily. Man, yeah, man. Shout out, man, to the whole fight community, Westwood community in Memphis, Tennessee, South Memphis, man. Yeah, man. Shout out to you, my guy, man. Appreciate the opportunity.